Gentlemen, have you ever found yourself wondering whether a woman is truly drawn to you? Sometimes the answer isn't in what she says, but in what she does. Words can be charming, but it's often the subtle, unspoken gestures that reveal the truth of her feelings. Understanding these non-verbal cues is one of the most overlooked forms of wisdom for men, especially for those of us after 50 who've seen the world but still seek connection that feels real. In this video, we'll gently explore a few powerful signs that may suggest a woman feels a deep attraction toward you. If this kind of thoughtful relationship advice speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe to Smart Golden Advice. Your support, every like, share, or comment gives us more energy to keep sharing healing, heartfelt, and meaningful insights. Let's walk this journey together. Stay with us till the end. You might recognize a sign you've missed before, and for that, I'll be truly grateful. At 57, my friend Tom shared a quiet but powerful reflection over a morning cup of coffee. He leaned in, as if finally putting words to something that had eluded him for years. "You know," he said, "I've spent most of my life puzzled about women, never quite knowing if she was into me or just being polite. But lately, I've started noticing something different. When a woman is truly drawn to you, she'll show it, right there in front of you without even saying a word." Tom's insight touches on a universal truth in female psychology. Attraction isn't always spoken, it's shown, especially after 50, when emotional honesty becomes more important than charm. Learning to read these subtle cues can shift everything. A woman who feels deeply attracted to you may not always confess it out loud, but her body speaks. Have you ever noticed her gently fixing her hair when she's around you, adjusting her clothes with small, deliberate motions, offering frequent, lingering smiles paired with soft eye contact that lasts just a little longer than casual? These actions aren't random, they're instinctive. They're subconscious cues rooted in biology and emotion. When a woman does these things around you, she's signaling comfort, interest, and emotional openness. And as men, especially those in our wiser years, it's time we stopped missing them. My colleague Stephen, now 65, once laughed as he looked back on his earlier years. "Back when I was 30, those signals went right over my head. I chalked everything up to coincidence, but now at 65, they're clearer than daylight. Guess wisdom really does come with age." Stephen's not wrong. These nonverbal behaviors are well-documented psychology facts, part of how humans, particularly women, signal desire and availability without needing to say a word. They're part of a woman's emotional expression, and understanding them can do more than guide your love life. It can reignite your confidence, clarity, and sense of presence, crucial elements for healthy aging and emotional fulfillment. For many men, learning these subtle signs is not just helpful, it's healing. It turns dating from a guessing game into something grounded, calm, and even joyful again. When you start recognizing these gestures, you don't chase affection. You notice when it's naturally offered. That shift alone changes everything, because sometimes it's not what she says, it's what she does right in front of you. And if you're paying attention, you'll see she's saying more than words ever could. Let's take a deeper look at one of the most quietly revealing aspects of female psychology: body language. Long before words are spoken, her body is already telling you a story. When a woman feels a natural connection, her gestures become more present, open, and emotionally in tune, even if she doesn't realize it herself. One of the clearest signs is orientation. When a woman turns toward you, shoulders aligned, feet pointed in your direction, it's not just comfort, it's trust. Her body is subconsciously saying, "I'm here with you." These quiet cues are often the gateway to deeper emotional intimacy, especially at a stage of life where clarity and warmth matter more than ever. Mark, 68, a neighbor who recently returned to dating after many years, shared a meaningful moment from a recent dinner. After my wife passed, I wasn't sure I'd ever connect with someone again, but during a simple meal with my friend Linda, I noticed how she leaned in slightly when I spoke, not in a romantic way, but with a kind of quiet focus. Her hands stayed relaxed, her knees gently angled toward me, and she kept soft eye contact. It wasn't flirtation, it was presence. She was really listening, and for the first time in years I felt seen. What Mark experienced wasn't seduction in the traditional sense, but in that lingering eye contact, that calm gaze that held just a second longer than necessary, there was a kind of unspoken draw, a silent pull. And in that subtle pause, yes, there was a trace of gentle seduction. Not with intention to conquer, but with an invitation to connect, because that's how women over 50 often express interest, with softness, with patience, with depth, and if we're not paying attention, we miss it. These gestures, gentle body alignment, open posture, subtle leaning in, are invitations, not to impress, not to manipulate, but to know and be known. At this stage in life, that kind of attention is rare and deeply valuable. It's how we build bonding relationships, the kind that nourish both the heart and the mind. As one viewer, Joshua, commented, "Prolonged eye contact, open body language, casual touches. These aren't random. They're quiet ways of showing care, connection, and safety." And he's absolutely right. These cues are not only subtle expressions of emotional safety, they're often the first sign that a woman sees something in you, something she wants to explore more deeply. So when her eyes linger just a moment longer, when she holds that pause between words, don't dismiss it. It may not be bold, but it is deliberate, because when she looks at you like that, it's not just attraction, it's how a woman seduces the soul, not just the senses. Physical gestures are essential, but what truly reveals a woman's deep attraction is the emotional energy she radiates. Yes, her smile matters. So does her touch. Sometimes it's not the way she looks at you, it's the way she sees you. You can feel it. In the quiet way she leans in when you're talking, in how her face softens when you mention something personal. It's different. It's not just attraction, it's something more. My good friend David, 63, told me something recently, over lunch, that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "After losing my wife, I honestly thought love was behind me. Not just the romance, but the feeling of being really known, really valued. Then I met Ellen. We were just having coffee, and I started sharing stories from my past, and she just listened, not out of politeness, but with this kind of focus, like what I was saying actually mattered. Her eyes sparkled, not because she was impressed, but because she cared, and in that moment I felt like I existed again, like I was still worth something." That hit me hard, because every man deserves that feeling, even if we stop believing we did. When a woman feels a real emotional connection with you, her actions change. She'll ask about your day and remember the little things. She'll want to know what made you the man you are now. She won't just listen to your words, she'll feel the space between them. This isn't about drama or passion. This is the kind of presence that makes you feel safe, seen, wanted, not for what you do, but for who you are. Richard, a man who left a comment on one of our videos, wrote something I think many of us can relate to. Women who openly show emotional warmth and kindness create an unmatched feeling of acceptance. After years of emotional detachment, connecting like that, it changes you. And he's right, it does. After 55, what we're really craving isn't a fantasy, it's connection, it's warmth. It's someone sitting across from you, not trying to fix you or impress you, but simply being with you. So what can you do to invite that kind of depth? Start small. Be open, just a little. Share a memory, not a resume. Talk about a moment that mattered, not something you're trying to prove. And when she responds, not just with words, but with presence, you'll feel it. That's how you'll know. She's not just there, she's choosing to be with you. And that, my friend, is where intimacy begins. Not in the body, but in the quiet exchange between two hearts, finally letting their guard down. Sometimes, recognizing that a woman is drawn to you is only half the journey. The other half is how you respond when you feel that connection. It's less about grand gestures and more about being true to yourself, letting your heart speak gently back. I remember a quiet evening conversation with Larry, a dear friend and retired professor, now 72. He shared with me, not in a formal tone, but like a brother in understanding, something that still stays with me. I used to believe that keeping my feelings to myself was a sign of strength. But I've learned that true strength is about understanding your emotions and sharing them in a calm, genuine way. When you sense her interest, just be yourself. It's about being present and warm, without any pretense. Larry's words weren't meant to instruct, they were simply his truth. And it made me realize that when a woman shows you her affection, it's like she's inviting you into a space of shared vulnerability. You don't have to perform or hide behind a mask of stoicism. Sometimes the most powerful response is to simply smile, listen, and let your heart be seen. I also heard from Michael, 66, who shared a story in our community that really resonated. He said, "I used to be scared of showing my feelings, worried that being open would make me seem weak. But when a woman truly cares, she craves realness, not perfection. Letting myself be vulnerable didn't break me. It brought us closer and made both of us feel empowered." Michael's experience is a reminder that authenticity isn't a weakness, it's a bridge to deeper connection. When you allow yourself to be open, you create space for genuine warmth and understanding. This is especially important as we get older. It's about letting go of old fears and embracing the simple truth that being honest with our feelings builds trust and lasting bonds. So when you sense that spark of genuine interest, try this. Acknowledge it with a sincere smile or a kind word. No need for overthinking. Share a little about yourself. Even if it's just a small story or memory, let the conversation flow naturally without any rush or pressure. Remember, this isn't about following rules or being perfect. It's about being real, both for yourself and for the woman who is choosing to share her true self with you. In that honest exchange, you not only invite her in, but you also let yourself feel seen and appreciated. At the end of the day, responding authentically isn't about playing a role. It's about being a man who embraces his emotions, connects deeply, and finds strength in vulnerability. And that's what makes a relationship truly meaningful. Here's the thing. As we move into life's later chapters, relationship dynamics shift in ways we might not expect. Noticing small but powerful signals, how she holds your gaze, the warmth in her smile, can open doors to truly meaningful connections. These insights come from men just like you, who've learned to tune in and respond with honest warmth. When you do, your relationships become richer, joyful, and fulfilling. It's never too late to connect. As one viewer said, "Your words have touched a part of my heart I thought was numb. Let this guide you. Your next connection could be one." Sign away!